I've been away because life gets in the way. Also, I'm streaming with allergies right now, so if I start crying, it's not because the review is bad. As you can see, we've changed the filming setup because I have a comfy chair. Why wasn't I using it? I have tea, I have opinions. This is Sonic the Hedgehog. So, Sonic came out a fair few weeks ago, and I was wondering whether I should even do this review because it's been a while. It's still booking in the cinemas, it's still booking out, so I assume people still want to know what it's about. I had fun, that was the underlying thing. I have to say, James Marsden, first and foremost, deserves some sort of an award, maybe an Oscar, for being able to sell sitting in a car and talking to animated characters. This, thank God, is a much better movie than the much maligned Hop. It was maligned for a reason. Let's not talk about that film ever again. In Sonic, it kind of feels like he's the only one who deeply cares about selling it. It's his star vehicle, so that might be a reason. He should be more famous. Let's put it out there. James Marsden can act, he can sing, he can dance, he looks like an old school matinee idol, and he's thoroughly at home selling CGI conversations. Why his career isn't bigger, I will never know, but I hope he got paid well for this movie. This film was cute, it was cozy, it will delight the young. It's the kind of animation I haven't seen in quite some time. I mean, it was technically a live action animation, but it will delight its demographic, which is 10-year-olds, boys and girls. This was adorable and you got that warm, fuzzy feeling. Now I have to say I did sit down with some trepidation with this movie because I was born in 1990. My oldest brothers were born in the early 80s. Sonic was known in our household. I remember them from the cartoons. I remember watching my brothers play Sonic on their Sega Mega Drive, which I wasn't allowed to touch. So I was a bit concerned, especially I think along with everybody else, when the trailer came out and we were like, what is that? But it's a good film and it does exactly what it says on the tin. This is Sonic. For one, I was pleased. The redesign worked spectacularly well. That trailer, you don't always want studios to kowtow to their audience. I think it worked in this case. So much of the praise should go to the artists who worked around the clock to remodel the character through the entire film. However, the less said about the cumulative effect of this and the Cats issues on one singular studio, the better. R.I.P. I mean, this film happily made its money back. They knew who their audience was, they targeted in the right way, they released it before a half term. The showing I went to was packed full of people my age taking their kids, which just shows you how old I am. I heard one little boy go, "Who was that?" right at the end, because there is an extra scene you need to hang around for. Jesus, it's all gone a bit Marvel. And this little boy must have been about 6. "Who's that, Mum?" And I was like, teach your children. This is culture. Jim Carrey is back to his overzealous best, the person that I fell in love with in The Mask and in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. It was like watching the loves of my childhood up on screen. Jim Carrey, at his best, like in this movie, does not need anybody else to bounce off. The bit where I enjoyed him the most was when he was on his own as Dr. Robotnik. He's in his truck, which is basically a driven lab. He's amusing himself on his machines. There's a skiing little montage and it made me laugh so much. And whilst he does bounce well off all the other characters, I think what he's done with Robotnik is made him less of a video game character and more of a movie character who, in this world of superhero villains, he's believable as much as he can be. The storyline is simple. I mean, they know exactly who their demographic is. It's mostly kids or people taking their children. They want to keep it fairly simple. There's nothing going to be too complex in here, and it balances taking Sonic from his own world into this real one with real live actors. They've done it fairly well. It's quick, it's simple, it's over with, and it would be understood. It's a good setup for a franchise, which is exactly where this is going. However, if there isn't any baby Sonic merch out of Sonic as a little, they are missing a trick because he's so adorable. I mean, the midsection is a little bit limp, but that doesn't really matter. This is a genial little romp where kids are happy, parents are like, well, they didn't screw Sonic up. That makes a change from all other video game adaptations. And there were, honestly, a few little moments where I was like, what's going to happen? I mean, I'm a 30-year-old woman, and this is Sonic the Hedgehog, but I was like, invested. And I think with any movie, that's what you want. Schwartz was an ideal voice cast for Sonic. He is voicing this character for a generation of young people who need a little bit more snap to their voice character work than we did in the 80s and 90s. He's just the right amount of wry and good-humoured and knowing, but still very innocent, which works very well, I think, right now for films. As for family films, this is one that you're not going to hate, okay? You might come out of something like Dolittle cringing, but you come out of Sonic going, that was worth the entrance fee, or it was worth downloading it when it comes on streaming, because let's face it, that's where like 80% of its revenue is going to come from. And as for video game adaptations, this is right up there. All that worry we had, oh my god, it's another Nintendo video game adaptation. How are they going to screw this one up? Do you know what? It's not going to win any Oscars, but I absolutely think they knocked Sonic out of the park, and I was really pleasantly surprised. You know when you come out of a cinema screening and you think, that wasn't a waste of 2 hours of my time. That's always a nice feeling. Doesn't happen a lot. I would recommend Sonic the Hedgehog if you are an 80s baby, a 90s baby, or you've got kids of your own. And that's all there is to it.